Hi everyone and welcome back to the Upside Down. Today's movie is Pieces of a Woman. There's really no joke or no monologue that can go along with this one, so let's just get into it. Pieces of a Woman was released last year, 2020. At some film festivals and a limited release. But this year is when it was officially released on Netflix. This film is starring Vanessa Kirby and Shia LaBeouf. It is directed by Kornél, Mundruczó and written by Wéber. When a young mother's home birth ends in tragedy, she begins a year-long odyssey of mourning that fractures relationships with loved ones in this deeply personal story of a woman learning to live alongside her loss. This is obviously, and from that plot synopsis, you can tell this is an emotionally driven film. Very, very emotional. The cinematography here is amazing as well, and it helps capture this emotion and what the characters are feeling, where they're going so well. They'll literally have like simple shots, something like a faucet running over dirty dishes, but they'll have shots that contain great symbolism, which we'll get to in a minute. First, let me get to this opening scene. This opening scene is spectacular filmmaking, in my opinion. Just amazing. It is a great one-shot where the camera follows these characters through their home during a home birth. There's one part of this one shot that I love so much. It's when Shia LaBeouf, who plays Sean, helps his wife, Martha, played by Vanessa Kirby, into the bathtub. He leaves for a second and she's holding her hand out of the bathtub and it's focusing on her hand, and then it turns around, the focus is off her hand, and then when it's back on her hand, Shia LaBeouf's hand is in hers and he's back, and the music playing during this scene is just phenomenal. The score throughout this film is great. It is actually scored by Howard Shore, who I just reviewed another film that he scored, a big one, Lord of the Rings. I just watched Lord of the Rings for the first time. You can check out my reaction video up there, and I will have that in a link at the end of the video. But anyway, he does a great job with the composed music in this film as well. This film, as you could tell from the synopsis and what I said earlier, is just very emotional, and it will definitely be tough for most to watch. This movie incites such raw emotion from the audience, as well as getting that from the characters on screen. The director does a great job at getting that, and the writing is spectacular as well. I've heard people say that the rest of the film, after the opening shot and after the title card appears, does not live up to that opening. I personally disagree. I can see where they're coming from, kind of, but I personally disagree. I was very much into it this whole film. I was just so invested in these characters and their heartbreaking yet very real story and journeys. Let me get to these performances. Vanessa Kirby, wow, she puts on an award-winning performance here. Absolutely spectacular and absolutely raw and just wonderful. Just a lot of raw emotion emanated from the screen. You could really tell that she put her all in this, and as a matter of fact, there were times when I actually believed that Vanessa Kirby might have went through something tragic like this. She's just so real in this film. Vanessa Kirby also performs just one of the best monologues in a movie that I've seen in a long time. And of course she's excellent, but that's not to say that the rest of the cast is not excellent too, because they are. I think Shia LaBeouf, who I actually liked, puts on a great performance here as her husband. And her mother, played by Burstyn, puts on a very compelling performance as well. And she is in a scene or two with Kirby that is just so intense. So I mentioned the symbolism earlier. I want to get back into that. The symbolism is used to great effect in this movie, and it really showed on screen. Now, there is some symbolism I didn't even get at first. I did some research or heard from other reviewers, and then I got it. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. There was stuff with the bridge that I didn't get all of it, but the apple I did get. There was a lot of symbolism with the apple. It was very important and very emotionally driven. As for negatives, I don't really have much. As I said, I could see people not liking the rest of this movie as much as they liked the beginning. They might think that the filmmaking doesn't live up to it, the story doesn't live up to it, the characters don't live up to it. And like I said, I do disagree, but I can definitely see that being a negative for people. I thought that throughout the whole film, there were great shots and camera tricks, zooms, and symbolism that it really just added all together with these performances and really made it a good watch. There were some times when I was a little bored, but honestly, those scenes were few and far between. I really liked this ending, and I thought it brought the symbolism and the characters' journeys around full circle. It was a very beautiful ending. It made for a more happy ending without forgetting the emotional roller coaster that we took to get to it. I really loved this movie, actually. I think I would rate this one a 9 out of 10. Yep, that's a 9 out of 10 for Pieces of a Woman. Go check it out on Netflix now. If you liked that review, you might like something over here or down here or somewhere, and you can click wherever that subscribe button is. If you have not subscribed, like this video, share my channel and videos with your family and friends, and come to the Upside Dan.